Test it while we're live. Hi,
Hey.
everybody.
Hello.
Look who's here.
It's me.
It's Joe.
The person you don't know.
Yes, the person you don't know. So I'm going to turn up my, well, maybe I should get to the page, right?
Yeah, that might help.
It might help. So let's go and find the live that's going on.
Oh, my goodness.
Because I don't have Jasmine here, and I'll explain that in a moment, you guys, why Jasmine isn't here.
She'll be back, don't worry.
She will be back, but not for 2 weeks. And look at me, I'm just like, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. Why can't I get to it? What's going on here?
I don't know. I wish I could help, but I don't know what I'd do.
I know. Well, tell me, can you guys hear me? There's some. Hi, Mom. Can you hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up or something just to make sure that you can hear me?
I should do it this way. We got nothing.
We got nothing.
Are we sure we're alive?
It says it's on.
Alive or dead?
We are live. So we will go to. So it might be a second, people. Just bear with me. Is anybody watching? Hello, everybody. Mom, can you hear me?
Hey, Mom.
Good. Okay, perfect.
We are officially.
She can hear.
We're officially live.
But I still have to find. Why won't it let me into that page? I'm so confused. What's this? Profile status? No. I need to get. This is such an old iPad. I don't even know if it's
Product placement.
even. I know, product placement, right? Give me a minute. Oh, here's one for you. They're bringing back. What did you think of that?
I liked it. I liked it better the second time I watched it. We're talking about Talk to Me, by the way.
Talk to me, yes.
She really deserved it at the end.
She did, yeah.
You know.
So we're going to be talking about horror and how horror is through that.
We'll try to keep it spoiler free.
Yes, and I'm going to have to peek in to see. So as people come on, I know I started a few minutes early, and we got a few people up here. So we're going to wave at them as they go. So Joe
Hi.
is here, and Joe is probably, he's been a customer of ours since day one almost.
When you used to have the old
The little
location.
store.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 15 years almost.
Yeah.
14 years. It's amazing.
I still
Oh.
remember the first thing I bought from you. It was a
What
little
was it?
scarab ring for Katie.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it kind of fits in with our horror because it's like the mummy.
Yes.
So
The funny thing is we got married on the same day.
Absolutely. And
Of the same
He
year.
didn't tell me either.
And we didn't know that.
You,
Did I know your date?
I think you said you didn't want to spoil.
Oh, that might be
spoil
it. Yeah.
for me.
I didn't want to. Yeah. You know, but we got married
but-
same day, same year.
I understand now why he declined my invitation.
Because we were in the middle of getting married ourselves. I thought it was hilarious.
He got married at the Detroit
Hey, Steve.
Zoo,
We did.
and I got married at the Redford Theater.
Yes, you did.
So we both got married in and out of Detroit.
Isn't that hilarious?
It's a great story.
It is. And you went to Hawaii
I did.
on your honeymoon,
Mhm.
which was great.
It was wonderful.
And I wish Katie could have joined us, but I understand she's working.
Yes.
So, Joe was, Jasmine will be back in 2 weeks. She had dental surgery, so, and she's got another one on next Monday. So,
She didn't want to come in here like the Godfather.
yeah. So we are wishing her all the best and to get well soon because we want you back in here as quickly as possible.
I can't do this.
Yes, he can. So Joe is joining us because we're going to be talking about horror and monster magazines. These old vintage monster magazines, like you can see here, as well as here, and the table is full of them.
Oh yeah.
And what's fun is Steve bought these a couple weeks ago, or no, about a week ago, and we sat on them and hid them because we wanted to show everybody the magazines and talk about the evolution of horror.
Yep.
On how from the 1950s to
Even earlier.
or even earlier, yeah, to current day.
Yeah.
And how it's taken such a change and how it's gotten from, your imagination to showing you everything.
Yeah, showing you every layer of skin.
Every layer of skin, peeling back piece by piece. So we thought, why not, right? Mother's Day isn't for another 2 weeks, so we can do something fun and frivolous next week. But this week because horror is such a big industry, and if you notice, most movies that are coming out are all horror based, whether they're comedy, drama, or whatever.
Yeah,
They're either.
There's not too many comedies out right now.
No, and if they are comedies, they're laced with horror.
Yeah. Well, horror and comedy are very closely related because they're the two that really get the most reaction out of people. You either laugh or you scream.
Yes.
You know, you're not getting a lot of that, dramas. You can cry.
No. And so now it finally let me go into Time Warp. So anyways, as more people come on, I am on Time Warp, you guys, right?
I thought we were in the Time Warp.
I know we are. But we've got a low volume right now, which means they're telling your followers to come. So anyways, let's move on. And so, yeah.
We'll get there.
I am on Time Warp, right, Steve?
We're talking directly to you, Steve.
Because I'm not getting a live on this. Do you have your phone on you? Can you pull up and see if we're live?
Sure.
Oh, we are. Here we are.
Are we good? I see that we're live.
Yep, we're live. Okay.
No.
So
like we're live.
See, look at this.
Look at that.
Yes.
Whoa.
I know. So, anyways, thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Joe, the reason I asked Joe to join us, especially for this one, is because you literally know way more about horror, and you watch way more horror than I do, and that's saying something.
Yeah. Well, I
we actually became somewhat friends due to the fact that we had this in common.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what's your favorite horror movie?
It waffles, but I really love The Fog by John Carpenter. I'm really I love Blood and Guts, but when it comes to like a really good horror movie, I like something that's really well written and spooky, and it's got that good sense of like eeriness, and so it's like The Fog by John Carpenter is probably one of my favorites. I know we were talking about The Exorcist 3. If anyone's ever seen that movie, that's a fantastic one.
It is a fantastic
one. When it
one.
comes to slashes, though, I love a good old Jason movie.
Well, of course. I mean, we were talking about before we started, and we're going to get into these in a moment because I know a lot of people who are going to be coming on, especially, are going to be looking at these. And speaking of Jason,
yeah, there he
Friday
is.
the 13th, Part 1.
A face only a mother could love.
Yes, and you know what? I think I left my paperwork over there. I'll have to leave you by your lonesome for a second to go get it. Don't worry, I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Isn't that what they say in Scream? Speaking
of. Oh, yeah.
So,
you can't say I'll be back because you won't be back.
Right? So, not on that aspect. So, my favorite horror film, I would have to say, is Evil Dead.
Awesome.
The series. And those
Detroit
of you who know
Boys.
me, no, Detroit Boys, absolutely. Royal Oak.
Yeah, and it was premiered at the Redford Theater where I got
did
married.
premiere
So
at the
there
Redford
we go.
Theater. It was filmed in a little cabin up north.
Yeah.
So, wow, I keep freezing. Am I freezing? Are we freezing? No, I think it's just this.
I mean, we do have the AC on.
So, anyways, we have, I meant my screen is.
I know.
Yeah. You know what, though? This thing is so old, I'm surprised it's even working. But, Evil Dead. Yeah. Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead series.
Yes.
Even though I don't mind Army of Darkness, I would throw that right in there.
Yeah.
But Evil Dead 2013 wasn't my favorite. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite.
I like that one a lot.
Evil Dead Rise, well, it had no comedy. Oh, 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was really good gore, though.
Oh, it was good gore. But,
and the acting, Jane Levy, was fantastic.
Yeah, she was good in it. So, let's talk about a little bit of this. So, Jason, what was your first memory of watching Friday the 13th? Check this out, you guys.
Oh, I remember going to Movie Mania back in the day and
cool?
seeing the VHS boxes.
Uh-huh.
And I think the first one I actually rented might have been Friday the 13th Part 5,
really?
A New Beginning, which is the one where it's not even Jason in it. It's,
yeah.
It's the paramedic whose son was murdered.
Yep.
But, it's still, that movie had some good gore.
Yeah, it did.
And, I just love renting those movies, and obviously nobody cared that I rented them.
No.
And then, seeing them on the Saturday matinee, back in the day when we had to only watch what was on TV. We couldn't pick whatever we wanted all the time. Mm-hmm. And so, Saturday at 1:00, they'd have a Friday the 13th marathon or a Nightmare on Elm Street marathon on whatever the local station was, UPN or whatever it was back then.
So, I apparently was not in the Facebook app. Isn't that hilarious? I love lives because this happens, right? Here we go. Now I can actually see.
Hey.
And it's actually running. It's still freezing. Old things don't work well. So
we're good everywhere else.
Oh, we're good here.
Just
I mean, everybody's watching, right? You guys
screen.
can all see us and everything. Just not on this archaic piece of device. No wonder it's here. It's just not picking up the Wi-Fi. Oh, that might be why. Oh well, don't have time for that. So, Friday the 13th, because it is this one, and this one is 1980, yeah, because Friday the 13th came out in 80.
Yep, that's the
so
first one.
This was actually, so for those of you who watch this and think, you know what, I'll just go into IBDM or IDBM. IMDb, and it's funny because I'm actually on it and I can never say those words. Or look it up, or YouTube. This was our IMDb.
Yeah, this was
our
back then.
IMDb. This is how we knew what was coming out.
This was our special features back then.
Yep, and this
You wanted a behind the scenes. You wanted to see how some of these creations were made. You know, how did Rick Baker make some of his special effects?
Right.
You know, that you didn't have any other outlet other than to get these magazines.
And they had the black and white. Look, this is mystery photos.
Oh, very cool.
Isn't that cool? They had the black and white inside here, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And not all of it is gore, blood and guts.
And look at that. The fog is on the front of that one.
It is. Your favorite one is right there.
Yeah, how cool is
that?
The
fog. And it says, this issue are fabulous content on the frog. On the fog. I said frog.
You did.
But you know what I love? This is New Warrior battle jackets. You can order your battle jacket.
Oh, Battlestar Galactica.
Look at that. Battlestar Galactica, and you can order your battle jacket. I wonder if I sent that in, if we get it.
I doubt. I don't think so. I think the statute of limitations is up on that one.
So let me tell you. I told you earlier, but I'll tell all of you guys. My story of Friday the 13th is this. 1980, because I thought it was a cool story. 1980, my father was a big horror fan. Mom, you're going to get mad. But, because it was my dad and my stepmom who took us. And we went to the drive-in in White Cloud, Michigan, to see it. And my dad put us in the trunk. Me, my two brothers.
As you do.
I was probably 10. And my older brother, 12. Shane, probably 5. And they put us in the trunk and we went to the drive-in. And it was Friday the 13th. My dad would tell us, oh, it's fake. It's fake. And then he'd show us those actors afterwards so that it wouldn't scare us. And I think that was my first foray into horror. And but I'm going to tell you, when we were going to leave, which I don't know why he made us get back in the trunk to go to leave, because you leave a different exit, you come in.
Yeah. I think by the time you already snuck in, it's all right to just sneak out.
Isn't that hilarious? But getting back in the trunk after that movie was not terrifying. The best. But it was still fun. I love that.
I like what you said about your dad showing you. It's like, well, obviously he's not dead. He's dancing in Footloose.
Yeah.
You know,
so it was always, he would always make us understand that it's not really happening.
It's all fun.
Because we were young.
It's all just
look
for
at
fun.
this. This is King Kong, so it had to be the first one, probably.
Yeah, and then I love this one because you get a little bit of everything. We get E.T. right on the front, and then you also get the Thing in there, and you get one of my other favorites.
Look at that.
Oh, three of my favorites are on this one. We've got the Thing, we've got Creepshow, and we've got Poltergeist. Those are three of my absolute favorites.
I love it. And so we got King Kong, and all of these, it's funny because I have Lon Chaney here, right?
One of the classics.
One of the classics, which is the months, which we have $18 on. And I found it interesting. I'm going to have to go get my paperwork too. But these went through an evolution.
Yeah.
Because 58 is when this started, right? When the monster, and what they were called was Famous Monsters of Filmland.
Of Filmland, yeah.
And then in 84, I believe they changed the name to Monster Magazine.
Just to Monsters. And
then in another, I want to say, you know what? I'm going to go get it. But I'll just be gone for a second, you guys.
And, for your sci-fi fans that aren't just into monsters, we have some Star Wars ones that are really cool. We've got a handful of Star Wars ones. This one It's for a movie called Saturn 3. So that looks pretty cool. I don't
Saturn
think I've
3?
seen that one.
So it's a sci-fi.
Yeah, so we've got some sci-fi in here too.
Oh, that is pretty cool. When's this one from? This one is June 1980. 1980 was the year, I'm telling you guys. It was the year of horror.
Yeah. I mean, there were so
we
many
had horror before.
There are so many like banner years in horror.
I think Friday the 13th changed, and Halloween changed the way we looked at horror, because it went from like Psycho,
yeah,
where it was all imagination except for a little bit here and there, to where it became a little bit more in your face.
Yeah. So you had Psycho, and then you had Texas Chainsaw,
right,
in '74.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And then you also
that was '74.
That was '74, and then I think Black Christmas was '76.
Yeah, '76.
Don't crucify me on that one.
Oh,
but that was the first like POV. If you don't like count like Peeping Tom, like way back.
Good evening, Madge.
Hey.
People are jumping off and on and off and on. So, what do you think about the evolution of horror?
Well, I love horror movies today. I do think that, like we were talking about earlier, there is sort of you're kind of missing some of the using your imagination,
right?
And
especially with stuff like this,
And I think imagination is something in general that is probably, getting, we're not encouraging people to use their imagination more and more. It's like we show everything, and we sort of over-explain everything, and,
right?
And
I get, because I know somebody could counter that with, well, like Damien Leone when he does Terrifier. That's his imagination.
Well, sure.
Well, I get that, but you got to leave some for us.
A little bit. I think there's room for both.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of. Oh, that one's really cool.
This one, Alien, you guys, crazy. It's Alien, and this one would have been 79, November 79.
79 for Alien.
I mean, that is Alien, but I don't.
That's Nancy Cartwright.
Nancy Cartwright.
Yeah.
See, look at this. This is why he's on. Nancy Cartwright, right here. So, 1979. They started in 1958, and they were published by James Warren. And these are some facts that I thought were really interesting. An editor was Ackerman.
Yep.
All right. So we all know the name Ackerman. If you're a horror fan, you know the name Ackerman, because Ackerman is synonymous for monsters.
Yes.
And so, these magazines, they put the first one out, and it was so popular that they had to make multiple printings.
Yeah.
Just to keep up for it.
Oh.
And it actually started after the release of Shock Theater.
Yeah.
These did.
Mm-hmm.
And the craving the public had for get scared. Look at the Jaws versus Ape.
Check this
look
one
at
out.
that.
That is awesome. Jaws versus Ape. Right
Jaws
there.
versus Ape, you guys. These things are so cool. This is killing me.
That one's really cool, and that's another great one for sci-fi.
Doctor Who.
You got Doctor Who fans out there.
Doctor
Who is such a huge fan base.
This is 1979 Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So, and then, is this Robbie the Robot? Who is that?
That's a Dalek.
That's a Dalek.
Yeah, from Doctor Who.
So, Doctor Who, I've never even seen a Doctor Who. Isn't that awful?
I like Doctor Who. I liked, I started watching it when it came back with Christopher Eccleston, and then it was David Tennant.
Right.
Yeah, they got really big again with that.
So...
Oh, we got Star Trek.
We got Star Trek. So, Monster Magazine, Famous Monsters, or Famous Monster, or what is it? Monsters of Movieland.
Yep, Famous Monsters of Filmland.
Of Filmland.
Yep.
They're not just your gory horror films. They're like very well known. Look at Dracula.
Yeah, we got the Christopher Lee Dracula.
The Christopher
Hammer
Lee Dracula.
Horror.
So what I was going to tell you about where did I put the one? Look, I'm already crazy. Where did that Lon Chaney one go?
I don't know. You had it up there.
I know.
There's another one over here
right
somewhere. Yeah.
But that one Lon Chaney that I had, you can find those on Etsy for like $1,000.
Yeah. Yeah,
which is silly.
Yeah, because we've got them in store for how much?
$18. This one's $35.
So the prices vary.
Yep,
but we've got some really cool books up here for and you can't you get so much out of these. Just holding them in your hands and flipping through the pages.
So
that old magazine smell.
Yeah, I mean, look at this: 4 Tales of Vampiric Terror.
Ooh,
look at the progression of the bat.
That's awesome.
The progression of the bat. You gotta love that.
You want to talk about a really off-the-wall vampire movie? One of my favorite movies. It's called Planet of the Vampires. It's directed by Mario Bava, very famous Italian horror director, and it's set in space, and it's like space vampires. And if you haven't seen it, it's crazy, and I love it.
Space vampires.
Space vampires, and I think it's probably from the 70s.
That would be fun to
Maybe
watch.
the 60s. I don't know.
Plan 9 from outer space, almost. Motel Hell.
Motel Hell or Motel Hello.
Or Motel Hello, yes.
Until the lights go out.
One of the scariest films when I first watched it. I never wanted to travel after that and stay in motels. I mean,
I don't want to stay in motels because of bed bugs.
So this is Warren Presents exclusive movie yearbook 1981. So you've got Jason from Friday the 13th. You've got, what is this one? This is from don't tell me it's the winter.
That looks.
Is this the thing?
No, that looks like, I'm not sure what that's from.
Motel Hell, Fade to Black. I don't know.
Yeah,
Fog,
that one I'm
The
not
Hearse.
familiar with.
You know what's your other movie I like? Which one is the one with the sphere?
Phantasm.
Love Phantasm.
Yeah, Phantasm movies are fun.
And then, I mean, what is this? This is Squirm. The story of a billion deadly worms. Squirm. Look at these. These are the coolest books. So even if you're not into horror, these magazines are great pop culture.
Yeah, I think I already showed it, but Indiana Jones here. The face melt scene from the end of that. That's horror.
You gotta love that. Look at this. Here is, this one is the Tarantula, Chamber of Horrors, Doctor Who, and the Daleks. Monster that challenged the world, but check it out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? Look at that.
Just the artwork is amazing.
The artwork is nuts. So back to Ackerman. So Ackerman, well, first of all, Ackerman, Stephen King in 2000 wrote a book called On Writing, which is loosely based on Ackerman's life.
Yes.
And I did not know that. How many of you knew that? You'll have to tell me. Did any of you know that was? I had no clue. I never even read it because I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I've read most of Stephen King books.
So have I. Growing up, my mother loved Stephen King, and so I remember reading It when I was in middle school.
Middle school, yeah. I read it too. I read all of the early books. I stopped about around because I didn't care for Lovely Bones and stuff like that. Those were, I did not like 1963. I thought they could take the entire center of that out.
Some of my favorite Stephen King books are the collections of his short stories, like Skeleton Crew and ones like that. There's
The Running Man.
There's one called The Jaunt that's awesome, and I wish they would make that into a movie.
The Long Walk.
Yeah, they're supposed to be working on that one.
The Long Walk. What are they going to do? Bury the whole thing? Look at this. Now, this has got to be a memory for people. Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy?
The remake with Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and who's the female? Jessica Lange.
Yep, Jessica Lange.
And when we say remake, this is the first remake. This is the remake that we mostly know as being the original if you're our age or higher. And why isn't it coming up? Somebody just wrote something.
Oh. I hope your glasses are better than mine.
Loved Lovely Bones. The movie was okay, but I didn't care for the book.
I don't think Stephen King wrote that book.
I think he did.
Maybe
I'm saying the wrong name.
I mean, I like that movie.
The one with the little girl.
Yeah, the one with Stanley Tucci.
Yeah.
He's a really good bad guy in that movie. I don't think Stephen King wrote that. But anyways.
Anywho.
It's still a good movie.
Yes, I like the movie. And I read... Now I'm all confused. That's what happens when you're over 50.
That's okay. I won't hold it against
Now I'm going to go and see I'm going to have to look it up and see.
Here's another couple fun ones.
Which ones?
This one is just a fantasy. We got The Dark Crystal for
I love
some of
The
our
Dark
Jim
Crystal.
Henson fans here.
Yes.
And then right at the top, they've got something from Halloween 3, which is another one of my favorites. So I like
Oh, you like
threequels.
Season of the Witch?
I love Season of the Witch. I love Exorcist 3. I like Hellraiser 3.
So you like the third in most.
I like a lot of thirds.
You like a lot of thirds. What did you think of Friday the 13th 3?
I love Friday the 13th.
That's my favorite one.
And it's got the best theme.
It does.
That funky disco.
Yep.
Friday the 13th theme.
Yeah, because the Alice Cooper didn't come in until 4 or 5.
Alice Cooper was 6.
6.
And that's another one of my favorites. The Man Behind the Mask.
Yeah.
That's a great song.
Yeah.
Here's one. What is this from? Is
Let me
this
see.
was not Westworld?
Is it Westworld? It should say on here. Is it one of those?
It doesn't say. All right. Out there on you.
Okay.
On,
so
what movie is this from?
What movie was this from?
Yeah.
And
Let's.
it would have been a
It's a robot face underneath.
a robot face.
But it's not. I don't think it's Westworld, because you'd be a cowboy if it was. Was it maybe? Oh, what's the Westworld? And there was the future one. But I forgot what it's called.
I forgot what it's called.
Anyways,
too.
it's cool cover though.
Yeah. So as you can tell, those of you who are jumping on, Jasmine is out ill. She's had dental surgery. She will be back, not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday after that. We've got Joe Vanatta here,
Hello.
who is joining us, and who is probably much more knowledgeable than I am in horror. Look at that.
Oh, that's neat.
Isn't that cool? Look at this. Isn't that the coolest? These are monster magazines that we're looking at. The famous monsters of Filmland. This is 1968. Wow.
Here's a real gross one. That's Italian.
What's that one?
It's called Anthropophagus.
Anthropophagus.
The Grim Reaper.
Don't
And
know that yet.
it's rather gory, and it's got some pretty risque scenes in it. Yeah, that one
This
down
one
there.
down here. Linda Blair's Hell Night. Loved it.
That's a great movie.
Loved it.
Absolutely.
Yep. Look.
Oh, yeah.
Planet of the Apes. These are the coolest things. Like
Get
I
your
said,
paws
these-
off me, you damn dirty
Ghost
apes.
of I know. Ghost of Frankenstein. I mean, what is this?
So here's some more fun stuff. We got some iron-on Star Wars patches and mugs you can...
I know the backs of these are just as good as the front.
Yeah, and I bet you they've got most of these magazines on
Rosemary's
the inside
Baby.
will also have, like, ads
You can
that
open
you
them.
can send in for. So let's see what we got going
Yeah,
on.
like,
here.
what is that?
That looks like just a Frankenstein-ish kind of drawing
Yeah.
there.
But look at the back of it. Isn't that cool, you guys? So we're talking about horror, and
Indeed.
which, everybody likes a good scare. Look
We
at
would
that.
love to hear some of your favorite horror movies out there.
Yeah, tell us your favorite
Yeah.
horror movies, you guys. What was Alice? Let me look and see what this says. It was Alice. Oh, is that who wrote the book? Lovely Bones? I don't know where I
Here
got
we
Stephen
go.
King from then.
Well, Stephen King's wrote like a million books,
Yeah.
you know.
And not all of them horror.
Oh, we got...
This is cool. When is this from? 1975. I was 4 years old.
Oh, we got
What's those?
birthday witches, and so it was like letting you know whose birthday was in the month this magazine came out. That's pretty cool.
That is cool. Look at the back of that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
The land that time forgot.
Yeah, look at the front.
Oh, that's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? The Land That Time Forgot. These, 1975, The Land That Time Forgot, and the inside is just as cool as the outside. Here is Rare Treats Department of Unseen. I don't even know what that means. Here they are creating them. These are the...
And so here's like the really cool thing about these magazines is, I mean, everybody knew these actors, everybody knew who some of these actors were, but maybe you didn't know who the special effects makeup artist was. And it's like this was a real platform to make some of these people like Tom Savini like he was a rock star because of some of these magazines. And it's like, people would watch this and then they'd get inspired, and that's where we've got some of the special effects makeup artists we had throughout the 80s, 90s, into today.
Here's Vampirella.
Vampirella.
Vampirella. Vampirella. Isn't that cool? And
Comic books, Elvira.
Is Elvira in that one?
No, but that's kind of like Vampirella and Elvira. I was hoping I'd find something for Sea Monkeys.
You might.
Yeah, we have to keep an eye out for sea monkeys or, the joy buzzer.
So the cool thing, you guys, is these have not been on the floor. These will be on the floor as of tomorrow.
Here we go. Look at this right here.
What's that?
Where else can you get genuine soil from Dracula's castle?
Oh, that's awesome. Here, let
Man,
me show
oh,
them
man.
up there. Genuine soil from Dracula's castle. Isn't
And it
that
comes
the
in
coolest?
a little coffin necklace. Man, if we had those.
And you probably could order it. And so they walked outside and just put dirt in it.
That's probably not. It's probably from Burbank.
Probably.
It's like dirt from right outside of the studio.
Look at that.
That's awesome.
Look at that cover. So, I'm going to tell you, I'm a huge fan of Mars Attacks.
Oh, me too. I love that movie.
Huge fan of Mars Attacks, right? Does this not give you Mars Attacks vibes?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, vibes. So, this is fantastic. When is this from? 1973. I was 2.
Yep.
Wait, what month? May. I was 2 years old. 1973. Look at that alien on there. That is the coolest picture. And look at the back.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. The world's greatest talent. Is it like a Dracula musical or something?
In a full-color 100-page bound volume of the most graphically exciting illustrated stories in the world.
There you have it.
That's for the Dracula that's on the back of this. You can order that book. I just love it. I mean, that is a fantastic... I would frame that, and I would put it up with my Mars Attack stuff. So I got the chance, because we have a location in Las Vegas. Oh, this is actually sealed. It's not even like... Oh, here's the flap. And we got to go to Horror Toys.
Oh, yeah.
And I bought some. And it was funny, because when I walked in, they have a... in Las Vegas, it's called Horror Toys. And they sell all the famous toys and stuff. And the first
really
question, because they have, like, where you answer the trivia of the day.
Yeah.
And it was, what is Jason's mother's name? Both real and on the set.
Okay, so...
Or on the show. So, I walked up and I said them both.
Yeah?
Well, I said her real name.
Yes.
And they said, okay, what's her character's name? And I said, and Pamela.
Yep, you got it.
And her real name, which just left my head... Betsy Palmer.
I wasn't going to give you the last.
Thank you. Betsy Palmer. I walked up, I'm like, Betsy Palmer, and her name was Pamela Voorhees. Mm-hmm. And she looked at me, and I go, please, that's the easiest damn question you could have asked. Why didn't you ask me who the killer was in Friday the 13th, the first one? You know, bring around Scream.
So this one's really cool. I'm trying to look for a date on it, but you can tell.
In front?
You can tell it's really old. I mean, like, even it says March. But it doesn't give the...
Here, let me see if I can find it on the inside.
And then look up, like, 3 or 4 pages in, they've got some Munsters stuff in there.
Munsters?
Yeah.
Usually it would be right here. So this one is... Filing dates. Give me a minute, you guys. And you can smell that old book smell, too.
Oh, we got some more fantasy here with Dragon Slayer and... Conan the Barbarian himself. Arnold.
This is 1961.
Wow.
This one is 1961.
That's cool.
When did the Munsters come out?
It's got to be right around
that
time.
In around the 60s.
Yeah.
Okay, so look at Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie.
Okay, so
Butch Patrick.
Yeah, and now don't you say it. What is her name? Jasmine! Hi! What is her name? What is her real name? Ooh. Who can tell me what her real name is? Come on, you guys. Real name.
It's a popular one.
My nephew would be through the moon. So, what is Lillian Munster's real name? Do you know it?
I do.
I do too.
I'm not going to say.
So, Lillian Munster's real name. So, if you guys can tell me that by the end of the show... Oh, yes! Thank you, Tammy.
Tammy!
That's exactly who it is. So, now I just lost it. Lillian Gish.
No.
Yvonne DiCarlo. Why did I not... Who's Lillian Gish?
I don't know.
Wait, Lillian Gish was somebody.
Yeah,
But
it sounds familiar, but it's like nowhere near what the real name was.
it's Yvonne DiCarlo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Yvonne DiCarlo.
Yvonne DiCarlo.
And you know what? A little FYI, Yvonne DiCarlo did a stint on Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah. I mean, who wasn't on Murder,
I know, really. I just watched one the other day, and what's his name? From Ocean's 11. The star.
The original? Or
No.
George
remake.
Clooney?
George Clooney was on it. I was like, really? Here's another alien.
Well, this one's got some Clash of the
Isn't that
Titans, and we got
Clash of the Titans, one of my favorite movies.
We've got Superman over
one of
here.
my favorite movies.
The best Superman, the only Superman.
So this 1973 alien, let's see what's in here. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
That's Queen Tara. So it's some Egyptian horror film. Dracula and the Freaks.
That sounds Egyptian.
Dracula and the Freaks. It says it right here. I just saw it somewhere.
Yeah.
Dracula and the Freaks.
All right.
Yep. So Dracula and the Freaks. Look at that. So these were terrifying back in the day.
Oh yeah.
But what's funny is this is 1973. What else came out in 1973?
Well, I know Texas Chainsaw came out in '74.
Yeah. What came out in 73?
Oh, The Exorcist.
Exorcist.
Yes. So
And it was nominated for an Oscar.
yes, it was.
Yep. And do you know, a little FYI on The Exorcist, you guys? Linda Blair was only on set for 2 days.
Enough time to really hurt herself with some of the
Yep.
the work that she had to do on that. So.
Yeah. So these are the coolest things, I think. So cool. So so the most expensive one ever was number 8, 1960, the tribute to Lon Chaney.
Yep.
Because what's his name? Ackerman.
Yes.
Was infatuated or just like obsessed with Lon Chaney.
The man of 1,000 faces.
With Lon Chaney. And so he did the special dedication, episode 8, to Lon Chaney after he died. And they only did one printing
Yeah.
of that circulation, whereas all these other ones had multiple printings. But he wanted to make that one special, so he did one printing. And that is the rarest Monsters of Filmland that there is out there, and it runs about 3,000 to 5,000.
Wow.
In graded good condition.
But you won't have to pay that much.
I don't have
when
that
you come
one.
in.
No, not at all. But look at this,
We've got-
Space 1999.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind for
Isn't that
$10. Great movie.
Space 1999. Look at her.
Oh yeah, that's
Isn't
cool.
she fantastic? Look at her. Space 1999. And what's funny is this is 1976. So 1999 seemed like like it's never going to get here, apparently.
Here's another.
That's the one.
Here we are.
Okay, this one right here you will find on Etsy, and that's the one that was up here.
Yeah.
So you can find that on Etsy and different sites for like $100 or $1,000. I mean,
Time
they
Warp?
have them $9.99, $18, $15, $15.
Yeah.
So the thing is when you see stuff online like this, be very cautious and do your due diligence and look at other sites to make sure that you're getting what you want.
Or come in the Time Warp.
Yes, if I have it, come in here. Now, I'm not saying that one isn't possibly, signed.
Well,
or
sure.
something,
I mean, if it's
but-
signed or something like that, that makes a
Yeah.
difference.
The Creature from the Black Lagoon. How many of you thought that, what was that movie they did where the
Shape of Water?
The Shape of Water. How many of you thought that The Shape of Water was going to be Creature from the Black Lagoon?
I mean, essentially, it was...
It's the same movie.
You know what it was, is Del Toro wanted to make a remake of
Right.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, and they wouldn't let him,
wouldn't
and
let
so
him.
he made that instead. And I thought that was just a beautiful movie.
Never seen before Exorcist pictures. Shall we look at them?
Sure, yeah.
Let's
I mean,
see.
they've never been seen before. We have
Well,
to
I'm
look
wondering
at
if they were parts of the pictures of where the parts they took out
them. Sure.
and then they put back in,
So,
remember?
is it... Oh, yeah. The tongue.
Look at that. So we had the coolest Exorcist. Did you see the Exorcist blacklight we had?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the poster.
The poster,
Yeah.
yeah. The Return of Reagan. What?
I wanted that poster.
I want them to do a movie called The Return of Reagan and not even have it part of the Exorcist series.
Did you see Repossessed?
Yes, I love that movie.
Oh my god.
Leslie Nielsen's one of my favorite actors.
Oh, mine too. Oh, that's great.
The Return of Reagan.
The Return
So,
of Reagan.
why not do a movie called The Return of Reagan? I love it.
What does it say? Leaves of Satan's Scrapbook?
Yep. An Exorcist exclusive by Paul Day Clemens. So it's apparently a book you can get. And of course these are never seen before photos because somebody drew them. Because somebody drew them. Look at that. Isn't that hilarious?
Are we sure there's not more?
Oh, there's probably more.
There's got to be actual
I wonder if
pictures
these are
where they
rendered.
say never before seen.
Oh,
that's maybe.
These are renderings of what they wanted the faces to look like in The Exorcist.
I mean, some of
And
those
she actually looks like the girl from the remake, from the Believer.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you not like about Believer?
When I went into I went into Believer with low expectations.
Meaning Exorcist, the new one that was just released.
Yeah, and me and my wife actually did really enjoy maybe the first quarter to the first half of the movie.
Yeah, same here.
Until they brought in the legacy characters. They brought in the mom.
Well, they didn't do justice to her.
Well, that's the problem, and it's like
especially when they got rid of her eyes.
I think that if they would have just tried to make their own movie out of it, it would have
like not brought back the legacy characters just to continue.
Yeah, I mean it was an interesting concept, but I think they ran out of steam, and I don't think they knew quite how to end it.
Highly possible. Oh, they didn't. Well, they used CGI. Now, one of the things, because remember the smoke came out of her mouth?
Sure.
And I thought to myself, why? Why are you ruining this with the possession of Emily Brown? Or Emily, whatever her name was.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's all that movie was dark smoke coming out of her mouth. Why would you do that? Because one of the things I love the most about Exorcist, the original, is the fact that none of it was CGI'd.
Of course, they didn't have CGI.
No, and it was all done mechanically.
You know how they got their breath in the scenes?
Yeah, the cold.
They used like commercial grade like air conditioners to get the room down.
That cold, and then pea soup, like everybody knows.
Well, sure.
But
who doesn't like a good split pea soup?
Right? Come flying out at you. I agree with you 100% about Believer. I love the beginning of it. It had that feel. Yeah. When she walked down the church thing, I liked that. The girl.
The first half I thought was really interesting. It kept our attention. We were along for the ride.
Yes. When they started to do when the legacy characters came back, at first I was a little worried how she was going to do it, and then when they hurt her. Yeah. I didn't care for that.
No, I didn't like that either.
And then when they started, and I understand why you're bringing in all the different religions.
Sure.
Because you don't know, you're hitting them with everything to try to get it.
Yeah.
But the creation of the CGI with the one lady, the lady who was doing the yeah. What was she doing? She was doing like not Buddhism, like Taoism or something.
Something like that.
Anyways, and it caused that to come out, and I thought that was very disappointing, and it kind of ruined the movie for me because why are you introducing CGI into a movie that clearly shouldn't have it?
Well, I mean, that's just the way. That's just kind of the. Now, that's not to say that's the state of it, because there's a lot of great movies coming out now.
I'm not against CGI
that are really trying to push more towards a practical.
Oh yeah.
You know,
it's just I'm not against CGI at all. I like movies when you know you're entering into a CGI world. Yeah. But when you take a movie that has no CGI because of the time frame, and you try to make that same feel, like you said, the first half of the movie had it. Yeah. The ending sucked. Yeah. Sucked.
No, it was disappointment. It's like I wouldn't rewatch it.
No.
Yeah.
What did you think of?
I've enjoyed all the Scream movies for the most part. I mean, there have been some missteps. 3 wasn't the strongest. I didn't think the last one was great, but I still enjoyed it. I thought,
go for the ride.
I thought that it was kind of clunky at the end, where they kind of gave away who the killers were this time.
Like right away, almost towards the end.
But it's still those movies. I think there's a little bit of a wink at the camera, and they're always kind of having fun.
That's what it is. I go for the ride.
Yeah,
I like to see Courtney Cox getting beaten up and kicking ass, and
yeah,
you know what I mean.
That was one of the best scenes in the movie.
It was,
where
especially when
she
did Star 69.
Yeah,
when she hung up and she's like, oh, and it rang in the closet. I was like, okay, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to 7.
Yeah.
Because Neve Campbell is back,
well,
from what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, because she's got to be, because, that whole storyline kind of imploded because of what the actresses did.
And I think I read an article stating that this is it for them. Not maybe the franchise, but for them.
Oh, yeah. No, it's over for them, for sure.
So we're going to possibly see Courtney Cox's character or Neve Campbell's character go away.
I was bummed that they killed Dewey.
He wanted out.
I know, but still, you don't want anything to happen to Dewey.
I would rather see you in a movie, David, than on a wrestling, because he's a wrestler.
Well, yeah, he was the WWC champion for a minute,
and that's where his heart belongs.
He did that Ready to Rumble movie.
Yeah, but you know what? 8-Legged Freaks rocked.
Oh yeah, loved 8-Legged Freaks.
So we've got
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah. So I love him.
Yeah.
And I love the horror movies he was in, and he will always be Dewey. But I want them to bring somebody fantastic in and kill him off at the beginning in 7. Like Jennifer Coolidge or...
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, they did that with the last one with Samara Weaving. I love Samara Weaving.
And what I liked about 6 is the opening. You didn't know. You thought the first one was the killer, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
How they double backed.
Yeah, they've been doing fun. They've been doing a lot of fun.
I like that. So, what else is coming out that is a remake? Because we're talking about remakes a little bit here because I think that sometimes we beat a dead horse.
Oh, absolutely.
Hence, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh my God! Yeah, we were talking.
If you do
we don't
another
need
one,
any more
I'll
Texas
scream.
Chainsaw Massacres.
And all you famous people out there, you don't need to be in it. Because Matthew McConaughey was in one.
Yeah,
he was. So was Renee Zellweger.
Yeah, they were in the same one. I think it was called The Next Generation, or something like that.
And I would rather see you in Scream.
Well, another remake that we were talking about earlier. I guess it wasn't technically a remake.
That one too.
Well, yeah, The House on Haunted Hill. They in the early aughts, they did the Dark Castle movies where they remade a lot of the William Castle movies from back in the 60s. And I love William Castle. He's one of my favorite directors.
Oh, really? That's cool.
And so
I love the movie.
They remade House on Haunted Hill and 13 Ghosts. Yeah. And, they were so different than the originals, and they were just so much fun.
They were fun. House of 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
I hear that they're considering a series.
And that would be fantastic, because they could do they could do 13 episodes, one episode per ghost, and it would be great.
It would be great. I heard they were doing that. Because you want to know. You see some of those ghosts down there trapped, and you're like, what are you, and who are you, and what did you do?
And that movie from the 2000s really did a good job kind of giving you a little bit of a backstory.
That was Tony Shalhoub, right?
Tony Shalhoub was in it. Shannon Elizabeth.
Yep. It was a good movie.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
And I liked House on Haunted Hill because I love the fact that he scared the hell out of him at the amusement park.
They also did remakes of The Haunting, which was very disappointing.
Yeah, that was disappointing.
If you haven't watched the original Haunting, oh, it's fantastic.
The House.
Yeah.
The House.
Yeah. And then they also did House of Wax, which
I liked
Okay, so
what'd you think?
I liked it too. It was fun,
and
I liked that one of the slogans was "See Paris Die,"
and she did in a very graphic way.
Yeah, yep.
And I think they actually paid homage to her by doing that.
Well, I like that. They made it.
They took her most beautiful aspect and got rid of it.
They made it fun by winking at the camera.
Right.
And saying, hey, you're going to come see Paris Hilton die. We know that's what you're coming in to see this movie.
And I was surprised that I was okay with her acting in that.
Yeah, and, she was a good sport about it.
She was. And another one that I liked her in, and it's funny that we're talking about Paris Hilton, because there's not much other than don't mind her DJ work, but
Pull him.
Yeah, well, she does techno, and I like techno.
Okay.
But she doesn't sing.
Okay,
It's just music. Is Repo a Genetic Opera?
Oh, I love Repo.
One of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
One of my favorite people in the whole world is in that. Sarah Brightman.
horror musicals.
Yes.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Besides
Phantom?
Besides Phantom, obviously Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Of course.
But my favorite, and I got the tattoo right here, is Phantom of the Paradise. If you haven't seen this movie, it's from '74, and it's sort of like a mix of Phantom of the Opera, Faust, and Frankenstein.
Funny, you have 13 ghosts right there.
I do.
He's got 13 ghosts. So this is why I brought him on for this, because he loves horror movies.
Yes.
And his knowledge is vast.
Brian De Palma directed Phantom of the Paradise, and it's just fantastic.
Oh, that's nice. Brian De Palma did.
Brian De Palma.
I love it when these big name directors do these horror films and people don't realize that it's them doing it.
Well, this was back in the, I think that movie came out before Rocky Horror. It came out in '74, I think.
So probably as he was just starting.
Yeah. So, or at least in the heyday.
A lot of people think that we named our store after Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
Time Warp, and it isn't, because that's Let's Do the Time Warp.
Sure. We're close enough.
But what's funny is when we opened, we had girls out front
doing the Time Warp. I love that.
And we didn't hire them; they just did it. But so with horror, why do you think it is that we have such a fascination as people over watching others get killed?
Maybe it's
It's an interesting question, huh?
Maybe.
Or we have a fascination over being scared.
Well, I think that's the safer route to go down.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that, there is a primal thing
absolutely.
of wanting to, it's like we all have that caveman in us.
I like the way you're saying that.
But but I think that being scared is so universal. We're all scared. We all remember being scared of the dark when we were kids, or being scared of spiders, or whatever it was.
Right.
And it's something that's shared by everybody. Everybody gets scared of something. And also, it's a release, from just the mundaneness of day to day. And it's like there's so many real horrible things going on. And sometimes it's good to just kind of shut off your brain and watch something that isn't real.
Absolutely. I agree with you. That's probably the safest route to go, because especially in this day and age when it's happening in real life.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of it is release.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And so somebody's, angry or whatever, and they watch a horror film, and it actually gets their thoughts out because they see it.
Yeah, also, it's like sometimes you get a really good jump scare. What's the first thing you do after you get scared in a jump scare? Is you kind of laugh.
Oh yeah,
and you're like,
because
they got me.
They got
me, and then you can kind of like, that's like you're really tense, and then it's gone.
The horror movies I don't like are torture films.
Okay, so my wife's favorite series is Saw. Do you not like?
I saw the first 3.
You saw only the first 3.
Only the first 3.
There's 10 of them now.
There's 10, and 11, I guess, is being made.
Oh yeah, well
But I'm tempted to see 10. That's the 3D, right?
7 was in 3D.
7, whichever one.
7 was really good.
Okay, I'm tempted to watch that. I liked Saw. The first one was amazing.
Yeah.
The second one and third one. The third one got me a little bit, especially the frozen girl hanging. But when they started doing pigs, throwing people in pigs,
that was gross.
That was gross. And then I just didn't watch them again because of the torture aspect of it. But I do understand because it's a game.
Well, what's really cool about the Saw movies is they're all connected.
Right.
And a lot of the movies, I think the first 3 or 4 movies all take place within a few days.
Yeah,
I know. Two of the movies take place almost at the exact same time. You're just seeing it from different perspectives, which is really, really cool.
Yeah. Shawnee Smith.
Oh, fantastic.
Ironically, she's one of my favorite characters in The Stand, the original.
I loved her in The Stand. I loved her in The Blob.
Loved her in The Blob.
Talking about remakes, that's a fantastic remake.
Oh, it is a fantastic remake.
Yeah, we just watched that not too long ago.
Yeah, you're talking about the 80s one, right?
The 80s film.
Yeah. And I heard they were doing it again, but then I never heard again. So, because you can't tell what's real and what's
Rob
not
Zombie
on Facebook
was actually working on it for a while.
I thought so.
And the idea that he had for it was really interesting, and I can't tell you what it was, but I remember reading about it.
Well, it's got to be
fascinating.
Yeah.
It was different than what you would expect.
Right. The Reanimator is one of my favorite.
Oh, Bride of Reanimator. It's awesome.
Love Bride of Reanimator. So there's a lot of old vintage movies that are horror films, and we could ask for them all the time. I think that when we do look at these, we actually get what we want. Like, we're human. We get mad. We get angry. We get irritated. We get vengeful. We have thoughts that we have that we never act upon, most of us. And I think watching horror films kind of releases that out of you.
You can get that.
You can get that sensation, right?
Yeah.
Because we have common sense and we have a brain that stops us.
Some of us.
Well, I'm referring to us for the most part. Some of us. What do you think of serial killer movies? And I don't mean like made up.
So here's the thing. So it's like watching a documentary about a serial killer
is one thing.
But then, like, for instance, they had that Jeffrey Dahmer show with Evan Peters that was really, really big, and I couldn't watch it. And people were dressing up like Jeffrey Dahmer for Halloween.
See, that's almost...
It's disrespectful to the victims.
And it's honoring somebody who
doesn't deserve
deserve it.
And so it's like, yes, I understand that, like a killer like Norman Bates or Leatherface is based off of Ed Gein, who was a real serial killer.
Yeah.
But there's a disconnect there. It's not a movie about Ed Gein.
We're not idolizing him.
And then they've got movies like Kane Hodder, who played Jason in Friday the 13th movies, did a movie where he played the BTK killer, and I just think that's wrong. Yeah,
and what did what's his name from High School Musical? Zac Efron.
Yeah.
Who did he play?
He played. I think he also he played Ted Bundy. But I think he also might have played Jeffrey Dahmer.
He may have. See, I understand playing a role to try to make people, because we can never forget. Because if we forget, then it happens again out from under us.
Yeah.
So I agree. I'm not a big fan of those because I feel like we're idolizing somebody who shouldn't be idolized. These characters in these books, the characters in like Hellraiser, in like Evil Dead, they're make believe.
They're all make believe.
Art the clown, even though he could happen, he's make believe. Especially half the shit he does. Excuse my language. But they're make believe. Dahmer's not make believe.
Gacy's not.
Gacy's not make believe.
Yeah.
And I did a whole show on clowns.
Yeah.
And he ruined clowns.
Yeah, it went from bozo to mozo.
Everybody. So I think it's important that when we talk about horror, that we realize that we can't idolize these people, because then we start idolizing the ones that are doing it now.
Yeah.
And we need to know the difference between fame and infamy.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm afraid kids don't understand the difference.
Well,
the most part.
Everything's so saturated.
Yeah, because of this.
It
is.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sitting here doing it, but so I don't know.
Yeah, but it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, it is an interesting topic, and we could get very controversial with it.
But I want to keep it fun.
Yes, but these are horror films that we're seeing these days, and I got to tell you, even though who is it that did Thanksgiving? I can't think of his name.
Eli Roth.
Eli Roth. I like him.
Yes.
I've actually seen interviews. He's an intelligent man.
Oh yeah.
He has great ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But his movies, I can't watch them all.
No.
Hostel, I could not watch. I watched the first one. I felt dirty when I left.
Okay.
Only because of how severe it was.
Sure.
But then I watched Thanksgiving, and I didn't mind the movie because I thought it was entertaining because it was funny.
Well, that's kind of, and that's over the top, where Hostel is a lot more realistic.
Yeah, that I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I think calling him the new face of horror is probably true. That's what we're going towards.
Well, but then you also have like Ari Aster and the people doing the A21 films.
A21, good. I like most of what they do, but not everything.
Some of them can be a little intellectual.
Blumhouse, I'm not a big fan.
Blumhouse has like
they try.
It's like they do have some good movies, but then they also kind of just saturate the market with anything.
Like Fantasy Island, come on.
That movie was terrible.
you had a chance to do something fantastic with that movie. How you even got the rights to that, I don't even know.
I don't even know why they made a horror version of that.
I know. And if you're going to, do it along the lines of the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But sometimes when I see Blumhouses attached, I think to myself, okay, we'll shelve that. What else is there?
Also, Blumhouse is doing so many, like, oh, it's a remake or it's a sequel or...
Right.
You know, it's like, you know...
They did Exorcist, I think.
Yeah, they did. They did,
yeah.
And they did the Halloween movies.
And they did...
Yeah,
and they did the Halloween movies.
So, you know...
Jamie Lee Curtis, I love you to death, but you... come on.
For me, Halloween ended with Halloween H2O. And
It did.
I love that movie.
Me too.
She cut his head off, and
Yep.
that was it. There was nothing else.
Yep. And I got to tell you, those three shouldn't have existed.
I mean,
Who walks into a prison with a mask?
I didn't get anything from them.
Me neither. There was only maybe 1 or 2 kill scenes in that was actually Jason driven.
I mean, the kills were fine, but there was the story was bad. You know, it just...
They brought back legacy characters, which I didn't think they should have.
Oh, yeah.
You know, what's her name?
Hilton. I hate when they bring back legacy characters just to kill them.
Well, they didn't, what's her name?
Well, they brought back Sheriff Brackett, and they killed him. They killed Tommy Doyle.
The little girl.
Yep.
They brought her back, and
yep.
it's Kathy Hilton's sister.
Yeah, I don't know if she died, but...
She didn't die, but he did hit her, and she went flying into a tree, and then into the...
Yeah.
And then at the end, you see her crawling out, and I'm like,
yeah.
God, no.
But it's like, you know, they bring back these characters, and it's just like, oh, it's that character from the original to tie it, and then stab, and they're gone.
It scares me, because I think they think that if they bring back a legacy, it'll bring back all the original lovers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing... You know, there have been so many movies, and there's just, you know, it's like you get into these where Halloween is a great example where, you know, it's almost like you can go in like a choose your own adventure where it's like if you want to just say that 1 and 2 and then that's it, and then 3 is amazing but it's completely opposite different from everything, and then you can say, okay, well, I want to do 1, 2, and H2O, and that's one branch. Or you can do, okay, well, I like the Daniel Harris movies, and so I like 4, 5, and 6.
Yes. So they're doing another Nightmare on Elm Street.
We'll see.
Oh, I heard it was coming out next. It's got.
You're always falling for the movies.
No,
coming out.
this was actually through. Hold on, Fangoria.
I don't know.
I actually read that in Fangoria.
I'll believe it when I see it.
And it's with Heather. It's with Heather Longing.
I read about she wants to face off with Freddy again, but I think that was just all it was.
Well, in thing they said that they were putting it together.
Well, the last thing I heard was Kevin Bacon was going to be Freddy Krueger, and I think that fell through.
I haven't heard that. I heard Robert Englund was going to come back.
Well, if they could bring Robert Englund back, I'd see it.
But stop redoing it. Just either do another one or stop redoing it.
Yeah.
You know what? You're right. On Facebook, they do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But with your branches, the Annabelle, the Nun, they did that.
What I was getting at with that, though, is, you know, even if they bring back these characters, you know, you don't have to... You can make your own timeline. You know, if you want to just keep that original movie in your heart and enjoy it, do it. Don't let
I agree.
Don't let these new movies ruin it for you.
No. The new movies I mean, we could go on and on for horror, and I know we're running out of time, but I had a question for you too, and I totally lost it. But if you could see any movie redone,
oh goodness,
that hasn't been redone.
Well, my wife says that only bad movies should be remade.
Oh, I agree.
And so, what's a movie that was a stinker
that could be remade
they could bring
into
back
something good?
This is a good question for our audience.
Yeah, it is, actually.
What's a movie that was bad and maybe they could remake it better?
That's a good idea.
You know, that's because it's like, you know,
send us and let us know, because
there's a lot of stinkers out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stinkers, and they go back
oh yeah,
Suspiria. I don't even know how to say it.
I like Suspiria.
Did you like the remake?
I like the remake too.
Oh, I did not. I like the original, but I didn't care for the remake.
I liked it.
It reminded me of Black Swan.
I could see that with the ballet in there. Yeah. Sure.
But just slow.
It was slow.
And I liked the first one. It was slow, but there was something about it that I liked.
I know. I thought the cinematography was really good.
Yeah. I mean...
And Tom York from Radiohead did the music.
Yeah, I know. That's it. Well, that's why I liked Repo Genetic Opera, because of the music that was in there.
Fantastic.
And Sarah Brightman.
Mm-hmm. Not Bill Moseley, though.
No.
He sounded terrible, but that
He
was
did.
purposeful.
That was purposeful. The puppet.
Yeah. Gosh,
But what?
I'm trying to think of a movie that was like, oh man, that's
That bad. Plan
really
9 from Outer
stunk.
Space. You could redo that.
Oh, but that's got such charm.
It's charm, but it was a bad movie.
Well, sure.
If you want to redo a bad movie, anybody? Bad movies? If I had to pick one from the 80s, well, Valentine wasn't that bad.
That was 90s. Are you talking My Bloody Valentine?
My Bloody Valentine.
Well, they did remake that.
No, I know, but I like the original too.
Yeah, I like both of them. I thought that was a decent
Yeah, I'm
remake.
trying to think. Humanoids from the Deep.
Sure.
Wasn't bad, but
I like
they
the
could do
original,
better.
but they could be. They
can make that
that's,
better.
That's,
or Blood
that's,
Beach.
That's a movie that's not untouchable.
Yeah, Blood Beach either.
Yeah, Blood Beach was cool.
Yeah, they could do that with a whole city underneath that beach.
Sure, that would be cool.
You know, and Hills Have Eyes was one of the ones that scared me the most.
That's a good example of I like the remake better.
I did too. I did too. That's so funny. The first one I didn't mind, but the second one, the remake, I actually liked a lot.
Yeah, the remake was really good. They did a really good job. The effects were really good in that as well.
So I don't know. I don't know what a good horror film that would be based on bad movie in the 70s, 80s to remake today.
Well, hopefully our audience will give us some good examples.
Yes, but we are coming out of time, so I wanted to say thank you to Joe for... it goes by fast, doesn't
Thanks
it?
for having me. I had a good time.
Absolutely.
I hope you all enjoyed us talking about horror movies.
You should do a horror movie review podcast.
I know, you keep telling me that.
Because of your knowledge and your love for the art of it.
Keep making the noises here.
Oh, for the art of it.
Yeah, for the art
For the art of it. Yeah, for the art of it. Which, that's coming out at the end of this year, I think.
Probably like end of October.
And do you know that they said that there was a scene in that so bad that the guy who plays Art, I forgot his name.
Yeah, I
was grossed out by it.
I know him.
Did you meet him?
My old supervisor, those are her favorite movies, and so I got a cameo from him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, David Horton.
David Horton. He
Howard
was at
Horton?
Screamers here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But without makeup.
He was very nice. He was very
without
nice.
makeup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's an interesting character in the movie, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. And now they have the little girl.
Yeah.
She's frightening.
Yeah, so we'll see.
But anyways, thank you for joining us. And I know a lot of you think that horror is... A lot of the older people aren't as into horror as they are the younger people.
That's a lie.
Well, I know the handful of people I know.
All right.
They don't get into like this.
Oh, yeah.
They're more this.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Got the old school.
Well, hello. I'm glad we're just tying up because she's seeing this. Anyways, thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And Jasmine, we will see you in 2 weeks. And who knows, I may have another guest next week. Never know. But I do think that he should have a podcast because of his knowledge.
Thanks.
It'd be cool. So anyways, follow us. This will be up on YouTube tomorrow. And usually Jasmine does this and she's got a spiel. But we're still on TikTok. You can see me on Monday mornings on Caffeinated Conversation with Brooke Allen. And we have some cool shows coming up. The Mount Clemens historical show, which will be done in Mount Clemens. And we have a couple other ones coming up that we're working on. So they will be surprises on location ones.
I've got a book coming out.
You do?
No, I don't.
Oh, I'm like, you do? I love that.
I'm guest starring on The Love Boat.
You know, that's what they need to remake.
Yeah.
They need to make a horror film. Oh, actually, Ghost Ship.
Yeah.
Best
Great.
opening in the world.
Worst movie, though.
Yes. After that opening, you can turn it off.
Yep.
But
We're
the
saving you
opening is
time,
worth it.
people.
Did you like the opening?
Yeah, the opening.
The opening was
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then it just went downhill.
Oh, yeah. It sank.
It did. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you guys later.
Have a good night.
Bye. Oh, where is it at? There it is. Oops. I still didn't do it. What's going on here?
We still live?
Yeah, it won't shut off.